Gentlemen, and welcome to the Danvers Zoning Board of Appeals. We are now in session. I would ask that you turn off any cell phone you have or set it to vibrate so we're not interrupted. I'll start by introducing our board members. Down to my right is Jeff Sauer. Our clerk tonight is Ken Scholes, myself, the chairman, John Bowner, Ken Jarvinen, to my left, Corrine Doherty, and our alternate, Katie Hislop. And from our planning division, our director, Mr. Brian Zakelli. We don't have any minutes to accept tonight, so we'll skip over that. And just briefly, our process is our clerk will read your application. At that point, we would ask you to come up and present to the podium. I guess we don't have a second mic tonight, so from there, the zoning board would ask questions of the applicant, all of us, and then at that point, I will open it up to the public for comment or questions through the chairman. And once that part of our meeting is complete, we will take it back to the zoning board and deliberate, and this will allow the applicant to hear which way we're leaning. Based on that information, we'll present you with what your options are at that point. So, with that said, I think I covered everything. And we're gonna start our evening with the continuance. So, Mr. Clerk, if we could read in that first case.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First case is 154 Water Street, zoned R2. Request for a special permit in accordance with Table 1 and Section 30.2.F of the Danvers Zoning Bylaw to allow a new senior 55-plus in age affordable housing development consisting of 140 senior independent dwelling units, 70 of which will be deed restricted affordable, with a preference for these residents who are deaf, blind, or near deaf, and with the affordable income eligibility from 30% AMI to market rate. The subject applicant has been selected by the Danvers Housing Authority to be project developer in accordance with zoning bylaw section 30.2.F.1. The applicant is requesting variances from section 30.2.F.2 and table 2 to allow the development building to be 4 stories in height where 2 stories is the maximum, to be 49 feet in height where 30 feet is the maximum, and to be more than 8 units in the development building. A variance from section 30.2.F.3 is requested to allow the permanent parking spaces for the new development to be located within the dimensional side and rear setback of the property. Request made by New England Home for the Deaf, Inc. and Wind Development Company Limited Partnership, docket 23-5012.
And I understand we're in receipt of a letter for a continuation, request for a continuance. Is that something we can read off the screen there? Brian, if you could move that up for us. There we go. Can you see that?
No, I can't actually.
It says, on behalf of the applicant, New England Home for the Deaf and Wind Development, hereby request a continuance for the above referenced matter without discussion to the board's meeting, April 10th, 2023, to allow the applicant and the development team time to respond to the comments received during the March 13th meeting. Not sure I can read that into the record as the chair, but we'll just say Ken read it, because I can see better than him.
You sure,
Fair
certainly
enough. Fair
can
enough.
at that distance.
Fair enough. So if I could get a motion on that continuance, please.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Continuing on.
Our next case is 139 Endicott Street, Zone C3. Request for variance from Section 37.6.F of the Danvers zoning bylaw to allow 3 menu boards for the associated permitted double-lane drive-through restaurant, where 2 menu boards is the maximum for the associated permitted double-lane drive-through restaurant. Request is made by Serato Signs LLC, docket 23-5013.
Somebody here from Serato Signs? I guess not. Not that person, okay.
Or Endicott Plaza LLC, Limited Partnership.
Nobody here. We can, I guess, hold it for a second call, but that's a little strange to me. Were they notified?
Yeah.
Hello,
Oh,
I thought I could zoom in on this.
Okay.
gotcha.
Can you identify yourself?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Andy Serrato Signs.
I'm sorry, did he say a name? I didn't hear.
Andy
Can you hear me okay? It's Andy Serrato Signs.
Yep, we can hear you if you can hear us.
Serrato signs.
Yes,
Great.
I can hear you, but I'm all thumbs when it comes to this stuff. My apologies.
Can you tell me, is there any representative here from Starbucks or a manager?
Nope, I'm representing Starbucks.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not comfortable with that, board members. I really don't, I mean, we don't know anything about this site or this site's operation. I understand it's new, but in most cases, even, I know you're the sign guy, but we would want somebody that we can ask questions about the operation of this site and the queuing and things of that nature. Are you familiar with any of that?
I'm pretty sure I am. I have gone for variances before the Starbucks on many occasions.
All right, well, what do we think? Jeff? I mean, we can hold it and make them come back with somebody. It's up to you guys. I'm not comfortable with it.
I'm not comfortable with it either.
I'll go with what you say.
Corinne, Ken, what are we thinking?
I
Unless you
think-
guys have no questions of Starbucks.
I think we probably should wait.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's the will of the board here that we would want a representative, a owner, a manager, somebody who's a Starbucks representative and not just the sign company. So,
All right,
sorry, go ahead.
is it all right if I can at least try to give a presentation at this point? And if I need to continue it, I will. Or if you're dead against it, I'll just let my customer know. But in most cases, I just represent them myself. But if it's the will of the board to go that direction, I'll just have to pass it along to them.
Yeah, I think it's, I think I heard from the board, and we would like a zoner, a representative or a manager from Starbucks in order to go forward.
Okay, will I be able to get something in writing to give to my customer? Because in most cases, when I speak with them about coming to one of these meetings, I usually just handle it myself. I just want to be able to present to them the reason why we didn't get anywhere with this.
Well, yeah, you're not a representative of the company, you represent the sign company, correct? You're not a representative of Starbucks, correct?
Yeah, I am. More or less I am, because we're going to be ones installing the signs, and they asked me to come and represent
There's
Starbucks.
no letter in this packet there's no letter in the package that's authorizing you to speak in behalf of Starbucks, unless I have that wrong.
No, I mean, he.
An agent?
Yeah, the sign company is the applicant. Starbucks is not the applicant.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, in interest of trying to move things along, we'll let you present, but I guess we'll strobe the board at the end. How about that?
Okay,
How's that for
Fair
a
enough.
compromise?
sounds fair to me, sir.
Okay. Go ahead, tell us what you'd like to do.
So, with most Starbucks drive-throughs, they have a pre-menu board that people can look at before they get up to the order screen. And when they get to the order screen, the menu board sits right in front of the order screen. This particular location, my understanding is that the town, and I believe the zoning board as well, was okay with the drive-through, but their concern was they wanted a double drive-through to try and move traffic along. By eliminating the pre-menu board, Starbucks feels it's going to hold up traffic because they're not going to be able to look at the items until they're sitting right in front of the screen. Where with history with them, when most people get up to the screen, they've seen most of the time they see what they want on the pre-menu board, get to the order screen, order, and then move right through. Just to try to move the traffic flow, they were just hoping to add that screen. One bit of clarification I'm trying to understand is, I just wanted to confirm is the bylaw does read because it's a double drive-through, they're still limited to 3, or being it's a double drive-through, is there any leniency on that? that they can have a fourth menu board.
I can go out to our planning director, but it's my understanding that double drive-through, single drive-through, we don't allow 3 boards. Is
Right,
that
it's based
correct?
on the number of lanes. So if there's 2 lanes, they were still only able to have a max of 1 per lane. So the 2 normal boards that they have are okay. It's the pre-menu boards that they're asking for relief from.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense to me, yes.
Okay, so that's our bylaw, and that's why you're before us.
Yes, sir.
So tell us about the sign itself, maybe the square footage and illumination, that kind of stuff.
Okay. The illumination is typical of any other menu board. There's nothing that's really overly bright about it. There's it's a white panel, and over the white panel, they do change that out periodically of different items that they might be running a special on. I believe it's a total of, I believe it's a total of 8 square feet. It's like 2 foot wide by 4 foot tall.
2 by 4. Okay, anything else you want to tell us?
No, that's basically it.
Okay, let's start
The
down there.
concern that Starbucks has, though, is just trying to keep the traffic flow going, which with the pre-menu board in front just moves the traffic along. And again, it was something the town was concerned about, which is pretty much why they insisted on a double drive-through.
Okay, anything else you want to tell us?
No, that's about it.
All right, thank you. Let's start down there with you, Jeff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, when Ken read the notice, it said 1 pre-menu board for a total of 3 boards, and on our application, I think it says 2 pre-menu boards. Which is it? Are you asking for 1 between the 2 lanes, or are you asking for 2 pre-menu boards, 1 for each lane?
We're asking for 2, 1 for each lane.
So for a total of 4 boards, including the menu boards.
So I guess one of the questions I have is, you have, what Starbucks usually puts in place is a pre-menu board, which was I'm asking for relief for. Then they have an order screen, and then they have a menu board. So I don't know if they're treating the order screen as a menu board, because realistically, they only have 1 menu board right now that's in front of the order screen per drive-through. So when we applied for this, I didn't quite follow how they came up with the number that they did. I don't know if they treated the order screen as a menu board.
Well, that's not for us to answer. We're trying to get those answers from you.
Okay?
All right, but so, Jeff,
That's all I have.
that's your question. Okay. Ken?
I don't know that I have a question for Andrew Serrato.
Okay.
I have a general question.
Yeah, you
So
want to
we-
go out to?
I'll go to planning, I suppose, through you.
Yeah, sure.
So recently, McDonald's on 114 switched to 2 lanes, correct?
Yes.
Do they have pre-menu boards there? I don't believe they do. You just drive right up to the main menu board.
Correct. I
do
don't
not
believe,
have them.
I don't believe they came to this board. They would have needed, if they had an
Correct.
additional one, they would have had to come here anyway.
Correct.
Okay.
No further questions,
Okay.
thanks.
Ken?
Will there be any audio with this sign, or is it purely just visual?
Purely visual.
Okay, what will you be lighting it up with? LEDs?
Yeah, it's not LEDs. They actually have a lamp that actually sits on the inside of the board, but it sits to each side, so it isn't directly behind the panel. It more gives a glowing effect to the sides. So as you're facing the board on the left side and the right side, there's a lamp that's on each side, so when it lights up, it's not a true illumination where it's sitting right behind the face of the menu part of it. It's off to the side just to light it up to give it
Oh, okay.
enough light for the customer to see.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, Ken. Corinne?
I have some questions, but I want to direct mine first to the planning director.
Through the chair.
Through the chair, yes.
Thank you.
The gentleman on the screen keeps telling us that this has gone for review. Did this go in front of the planning department or Was it some sort of site review?
No, I believe it just went through the planning department for sign review.
Okay. So when he's talking about, they kept telling me, he means your department was telling him
That you need-
that they needed 2 lanes.
Oh, sorry. No, we did not say that he needed 2 lanes. We were saying that we were instructing that he needed to go to get relief for these pre-menu boards. I'm actually unaware of who told the applicant that they preferred 2 lanes.
So who was it, who told you that you needed 2 lanes?
Well, maybe that, now I'm back to a point, maybe I'll have somebody from Starbucks here. It was my understanding when we applied for this and when we were installing the signs that the town requested of Starbucks that they put 2 lanes in because they didn't want traffic to back up into the mall. So my apologies, it was my understanding it was the town, maybe it was the property owner themselves. So if I'm misquoting somebody, I apologize on that.
Okay, I think it would be helpful if we knew who told them that they needed to have the double lane, because this is a Starbucks, it's not a McDonald's, so I don't really see the need for a double lane. And if you don't have the double lane, then you would have the right, for 3 signs, so you wouldn't even need to be here, correct?
Again, what was said to me through Starbucks was it was a request of them to have a double lane. So I would have to go back to them and ask them where that information came from. It was my understanding it was from the town, maybe, I guess I'm wrong on that, but that's the way it was presented to me.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thanks, Corinne. Katie?
Where along the drive-through, or how far ahead of the actual order screen is the pre-menu board intended to be placed?
The pre-menu board is the letter H. So as they drive through, the letter E's that you see are actually the clearance bar. They drive past that little opening of the island, and on each side you see the letter H.
Okay.
So it's probably about 15 feet in front of the order screen.
And so that's in the back of the building? So not
Correct.
visible from the front? Okay. That was the only question I had.
That's it, Katie?
Yep, that was it.
Thank you. Mr. Serrato, what are the hours of operation?
They open up at, I believe, 6 in the morning, they close 10 at night.
6 to 10? And I guess I just want to understand what presently exists. So there's 2 lanes. There's an order
Correct.
screen per each, and you mentioned a menu board as well, so there's 4 items right now?
So the letter J is the order screen. That is not a menu board, it's an order screen. It's a screen that
Can you zoom that?
you sit in front of, and as you place your order, the items come up on the order screen of what you order. The letter L that's right in front of the J, that's what they call a 5-panel menu board. So it's actually 3 panels, 2 of them are divided in half, and then there's 1 full board.
And what's the queue size for this, each lane?
I'm sorry?
What is the queue size for each lane?
Can you see the cars?
Well, I want him to answer.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, I'm not sure what you mean by cube size.
Queue, car queuing, how many cars can sit in each lane without spilling into the parking lot?
Right, so if you can pull back out a little bit, you can actually see right before the dark gray area, right about where the H starts, you can see a car sitting on the inside lane, you can see 1 car sitting, on the outside lane, you see 2. So if I'd say 1, 2, I'd say probably 3 per lane. 2 on the inside lane and 3 on the 1, 2, 3, 4 on the outside lane and 3 on the inside lane.
Okay,
I actually have another question.
well, hold
if
on,
you
let me
don't mind.
finish. So 6 to 10. This is a lit sign, at all times?
Just during the hours of operation.
Okay. So I heard what you said about the pre-screen, but I guess I don't understand having a 5-panel screen and then an order screen and then needing yet another screen, but I guess I'll save that for my comments. So, Corinne, you had another question?
Yes, I would like to ask, through the chair, the
Yep.
planning director, another question. Exactly how is the Starbucks situated? It was my understanding that the front of it, from when they were here last time, faces the steakhouse? Is that the way it is? Still facing?
Facing like Market Basket Plaza, that side,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, he's correct. That is
Okay.
right.
Okay, I'm just trying to figure out from this map how the traffic is flowing around it.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
It's
I
hard to
agree.
tell
Yeah.
because there are no landmarks on this map. Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah, I guess, so,
So I do have some information, actually. So they did go through the planning board,
Okay.
Okay,
and the decision actually does request a double lane, a double drive-through lane.
their
So-
decision
so,
requested a double lane, okay.
So that is actually a condition for the major modification, which was what triggered the review by the planning board. And one of those conditions was to put the double lane.
And the double lane to help with queuing,
Exactly.
which our sign operator doesn't seem to have a good handle on. Because I think it's 2 or 3 vehicles in the double lanes, but it looks to me that there's additional queuing up to the auto window, so, okay. Well, any additional questions from the board?
I have one, Mr.
Yeah,
Chairman.
go ahead, Jeff.
Could you describe what the digital order the order screen looks like? Is that just a small box with a speaker and a microphone in it, or does it have a display of some sort?
It does, it's basically like a TV screen, but there's no display. What happens, you place the order, and it actually, in writing, will list whatever you have for items. There's no pictures of everything. So it might say a large mocha, it might say a muffin, egg sandwich, bagel, tea, and then it just totals up the amount for them at the very bottom.
Okay, so that's technically another sign.
Right.
It's an information display. So you're actually asking for 6 signs.
Total, they have 4.
Total.
Yeah. I think that's where, yeah.
Since it's treating the digital order screen as a menu board, we currently have 4.
I only have 4, looking for 2.
The ordinance allows you to have 3, and to me, in my opinion, is that the 3 makes sense for a single lane. Now that you have a double lane, the ordinance hasn't caught up with the times. So you have to go for a variance for that additional pre-screen that the majority of your drive-throughs have. I don't know what McDonald's did, and I don't know if they're gonna change their way. I don't know if they just put one up without one. I don't know. My concern here with Starbucks, and they're found by having their screen set up this way, it's the best flow for traffic. Being that they had to do the double lane, they got forced to eliminate sign number H. So the reason I'm here is hoping they would put sign number H into place, because if the planning board didn't have them do the double lane, they would have been fine with the three screens, the H, the J, and the L.
So it was just part of the discussion from the planning board. It was not actually so I'm doing this in real time here. It was not an actual condition. It was a discussion point that they thought that could alleviate some of the traffic, and they were talking about maybe taking a parking space away, and instead of doing the parking space, this was another option. But
Okay.
it was not officially an actual condition that they put on the permit.
Gotcha. Jeff, does that answer?
So again, my apologies. And
Does that answer your question, Jeff?
I guess they heard
I guess the point being is that there's a display at the order board.
Yes.
There's a 5-panel menu board.
Yes.
And now they want this pre-order board. So
Correct.
each lane has 3 signs.
Correct.
So it's 6 total.
That's, the request is to add 2. We're only here on signs H and H in each lane.
Okay,
They've already got the 4.
okay. That's clear.
And Mr. Serrato, is there any reason why, or any thought put into why we can't I'm assuming there's some kind of median strip in the middle of those lanes, or is it just striped? Is there actual granite curbing or something to segregate the lanes?
Yes, that's a pure island that's between the two.
And was there any
And-
thought into putting just one single sign in that center lane that would service both the left and the right, or is that?
Well, then the problem is your driver's usually on the left-hand side. So if it was put in the middle, the driver on the left, on your inner lane might see the menu board, but then wouldn't be able to order. And also looking across and through the car into the middle, in my opinion, wouldn't help expedite traffic through the drive-through.
Okay,
They're
understood.
basically just trying to keep the flow going through their drive-through.
And this site's already open, correct?
I don't believe it's open yet.
Do we know when it's opening?
Last I heard, if it wasn't next week, it'd be the week after.
Mr. Chairman, I have one more question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you have two-lane drive-through. How many people are taking the orders from these two lanes? Is there one order taker, or is there one order taker for each lane?
I believe there's only there's one for each lane, but I honestly can't
Right,
be specific on that.
right.
I honestly,
And one pickup window, correct?
correct.
No further questions. Thanks.
Okay, thanks. I will go out to the public if anyone's here to speak about the Starbucks on 139 Endicott Street. It's, yeah. Come on up to the mic, please.
Bill Bradstreet, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1. I'm not an engineer. That's a nice white background with a lot of lines. When you're describing the signs, I would rather see a picture of what the actual sign looks like, and even a couple of pictures of the building in the drive-through area. My opinion, whether it's required or not, but that's what he's talked about and what is shown there, I don't feel is sufficient. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we, Brian, hold on. Do we have any kind of rendering of this site that's able to be viewed?
We certainly have renderings of the signs.
Yeah, which is in our package. We have the single sign they're asking for. But we don't have a good handle on the 2 or 4 existing signs or how they look with their building and drive-through setup.
So you guys have everything that's been submitted?
That's, yeah, got it.
So I can certainly look to see, I bet there was a different package submitted for the planning board. But again, you weren't afforded that beforehand and don't have it now. I can put it up on the screen though and see what we have.
Okay, if there's something, you had a question?
No, I was just gonna point out that we have a picture of the new sign
Yeah,
in the
no, I know.
packet.
Yep. Right. Anyone else from the public would like to speak on 139 Endicott Street? Okay, we'll come back to the board, and if Brian finds something, we can have him pop it up, but.
No, I'm in the planning board file right now and there are no renderings.
Okay. So based on that, again, Mr. Serrato, I'm not comfortable without understanding some more of this site and its views and these boards, but we're gonna strobe the board members and see how we are feeling about this case. So Jeff, I'll start with you.
So,
I would vote for this.
Okay. Ken?
So, again, going back to McDonald's, as just so we have some kind of example here, in my mind. Where there's 2 lanes, which I don't like anyways, but there's 2 lanes, there's one order taker. So there's your buffer zone. When the order taker's taking an order from left lane, the right lane is looking at the menu board and makes their decision. They've got time. When they go back, same thing. I don't think these signs are necessary. McDonald's doesn't have them. Everything seems to work out okay there. I don't think it speeds anything up having 2 lanes, but That's just my opinion. Because there's only one order taker and there's only one pickup window. So you're just doubling the amount of cars going to one window. That doesn't seem efficient to me, but I'm a no on this.
Okay, thanks, Ken. And Ken J.
It's pretty straightforward what you're looking for. You already have the signs in the other lane, you're just trying to replicate. Well, I mean, so by right, you can have the third sign in the other lane, but you have 2 lanes, so now you just want 3 and 3. So, I mean, to me, it makes sense. I don't think it's a big detriment to the community. I would vote for this.
Thanks, Ken. Corinne?
I agree with Ken Scholes. I don't understand why they do the 2 lanes. All it means is that instead of waiting to get in the queue, you just wait after you either place your order to get up to the drive-through window. I think sometimes it just adds to either the delay, and I don't think it benefits the drive-through in any way. So I'm a no.
Thanks, Corinne. Katie?
As a frequent Starbucks customer, I don't ever find what they display on the signs very helpful. They don't ever display their full menu. And so I don't see how they can't put what's necessary or that would be beneficial to somebody on the 5-panel menu board. If you have a 5-panel menu board, one would think that they'd be able to fit, and it's not a very expansive menu that they offer, so one would think that they would be able to fit that on the 5-panel board. And I mean, I'm familiar with those pre-menu boards, and they're really not helpful. There's maybe like a handful of items on there, so I don't know. I would be a no. I don't think that it's necessary.
Okay, thank you, Katie. And I too would be a no, but I want to clarify why I'm a no. I think Starbucks should be here. I think there should be a better rendering and understanding how the operation of the site's going to work before we're going to give you something that is not allowed by right. Currently, our bylaw is pretty clear that we allow the 2 signs, which you have taken advantage of. The planning department has recommended this 2nd lane, I'm assuming with the interest of keeping the cars that come into Starbucks off the overall 139 Endicott Plaza site, so the cars aren't sticking out in the driveway. So I kind of understand that request, but I think for me, without a good handle on this site and how it would operate and where the benefit is, because I really don't see a benefit, as Katie has stated, and I'm not a frequenter of Starbucks, but at this point, I'm a no as well. So you don't have the votes. You could ask for a continuance and maybe things would change, but you need a supermajority. You need a 4-to-1, and right now, you're a 2-to-3. So it's up to you what you would like to do. We can make a motion, and maybe you can get us a rendering and a Starbucks representative to maybe explain this clearer to us. Or we can take. Yeah, go ahead.
So with that being said, I would request a continuance. I'll get a representative from Starbucks to come. The only comment I do want to make is if 2 people are sitting in a lane, one in the right, one in the left, and there's only one person taking an order, when that person finishes, they drive forward. The next person is there sitting, waiting to order. So there is some time they make up during the day, not waiting for a car to pull up, and then have to look at the screen to decide what they want. So that's the advantage of having the double lane. But I will reach out to Starbucks. I'll try to get some better pictures for you showing how the menu board will sit on the location. The only comment I want to make is one advantage of this place is the back. This is all in the back of the building. The only one who drives around the back of that building is usually trucks that drive completely through. But I will reach out, and I have requested a continuance at this time.
Okay, and if you could, I think I want a really a clear answer on the queuing and what the expectation is of how many cars they can fit on their site before they spill out into the main road on Endicott Plaza. And, Mr. Soretto, our next meeting date is April 10th, or we can push it out to April 24th, your choice.
No, April 10th is fine. The only request I might ask is, I think they might be opening by then, so if you folks have a chance to stop by and maybe watch the flow of traffic
Sure.
in the meantime, and see if
I would
some of these
ask,
decisions might be.
okay, I would ask if you are gonna submit any renderings or anything, that we get that the Tuesday prior to April 10th.
Fair enough.
Can I get a motion, please?
I move that we continue this case until April 10th.
I'll second.
I've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We'll see you April 10th.
Hey, can I ask one other question?
Well, we closed the
One other
meeting.
time I had, I'm sorry?
We already closed your agenda, but if
Oh,
it's,
this has something to do, is there a way that my customer can view this meeting that just happened?
yeah, it's recorded on Danvers Cable and
And
YouTube
it's
as
also
well.
on YouTube.
It's on YouTube and Danvers Cable Television.
Perfect, I'll pass that along, thank you.
Very good, thank you. Okay, moving along.
Our final case is 103 Newberry Street. This is highway corridor zoned. Request for a finding in accordance with section 3.10.B.2 of the Danvers zoning bylaw to allow the expansion of the pre-existing non-conforming mobile home park by increasing the number of mobile homes from 14 homes to 30 homes. Request for a dimensional variance in accordance with Table 2 of the Danvers zoning bylaw to allow the new mobile homes to be within 25 feet side and rear zoning setback, but no closer than the existing mobile homes. Request is made by Leah and James LLC and North Shore Property Group LLC, docket 23-5014.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you very much. My name is Nancy McKeon. I'm here on behalf of the applicants, Leah and James LLC. Leah and James, Jim St. Pierre are here this evening. Also, North Shore Property Group LLC, manager Mike Bufiglio is here this evening. Also with me is Will Shuka from Warren Cameron, who prepared the plans that have been submitted with this application. And just one correction, we did submit some revised plans that had the mobile homes under both existing and proposed conditions numbered, and with that was a correction letter. We are proposing a total resulting 29 new homes. There are 14 existing homes. We're proposing 16 new homes, but one home will be removed. So it's a total of 29, not a total of 30. So again, thank you very much. We are here relative to the property at 103 Newbury Street, located in the highway corridor zone. That is the Shady Oaks Mobile Home Park. This site has been a mobile home park for many, many years. It is a pre-existing non-conforming use under the zoning bylaw. And as I said, it currently has 14 mobile homes on the site. However, in reviewing prior documents and plans, both recorded and unrecorded, as well as pads on the site, utility hookups that are there, it's clear that over the years, there had been more mobile homes on the site. 30 to 35 mobile homes have been located on this property over the years, but currently there are 14 homes on the site. And the mobile home park, as mobile home parks do, provide home ownership opportunities to those who otherwise would find home ownership unattainable. And it provides that service to a certain segment of the population. The Shady Oaks Mobile Home Park in particular is in need of some attention. It needs some upgrading, it needs landscaping, it needs some pavement improvements and general site cleanup. And in order to generate the income to make those improvements, we need to increase the number of units. on the site. We have provided to you an existing conditions plan as well as a proposed condition plan and a rendering of both the existing, in the form of a photograph, of the existing front of the site from Route 1, Newbury Street, as well as the proposed improved paving, improved landscaping, and entrance area that will result from the renovation and upgrading that's being proposed. A little bit about how mobile home parks operate. The individuals who live at the mobile home park pay rent for the pad, which provides utility connection. It's modest rent, $400 or $500 range per month, and that covers the rent of the pad, it covers water, sewer, snow removal, and general maintenance. Then the homeowner purchases and owns the mobile home itself. And a mobile home can run $150,000, $160,000 for a home. And this is certainly far lower of a price than even an affordable unit under Danvers affordable housing regulations, considerably less. An affordable housing unit is generally in the $260,000 range. So this provides the ability for someone to purchase a home, be a homeowner, have the commitment to the home and to the town in a way that is affordable. Because the pad rentals are so low, to make improvements, to have a quality mobile home park, additional units are required. Shady Homes Mobile Home Park is currently operating at a loss. And we really want to upgrade the facility so that it operates in a way that can provide the updating and upgrading of the site, upgrading of the paved areas, the landscaping, so that it's better for the town and it's better for the residents who live there. So the proposal is, if that's the rendering of the existing front from Newbury Street. The access point into and out of the property is directly off of Newbury Street. And then we provided you with a rendering of the proposed, which has improved pavement, improved landscaping, and the new mobile homes that you see that are shown on your plan as the new proposed homes. So again, we have 14 existing homes. We're proposing to add 16 new units, and one unit will be removed. That existing, it's unit number 2 on the existing plan that's proposed to be removed. We met with staff, planning staff, prior to filing this, and it was determined that we needed to seek a couple of things from you. First is the finding, because this is a non-conforming use, in order to increase the number of units. You've done this in the past. You did this at 98 Newbury Street, which is basically across the street. On the other side of Route 1 back in 2020, you granted a finding to increase the number of units there. At that particular facility. So it's a similar type of finding that we're seeking here. Secondly, we're seeking variances from the side and rear setbacks in order to accommodate the proposed units. We have a very irregularly shaped lot, and we have existing homes on the site that we need to work around, and so we are requesting a side variance as well as rear variance to accommodate the units, and those are all designated on the plan. But none of the proposed units are any closer to the side or rear lot line than the existing homes. So the existing homes there themselves are non-conforming as to the side and rear lot lines in many cases. This is a property located, as I said, in the highway corridor zone. The highway corridor zone, its size, its setbacks are established for large development type of uses, not for residential type of uses. If you think of this as small residential homes, you might equate it to more of a Residence 1 requirement, which is an 8-foot setback, rather than a 25-foot setback that you find in the highway corridor zone. 9 of the new homes are closer to the side lot line than the 25 feet, and 1 of the new homes is closer to the rear lot line. And again, you can see that on the plan. None of the new homes will be closer than the existing homes on the site. So we are requesting a finding, and we believe that adding these additional homes will not be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood. We also meet the requirements for the finding under Section 30 of the zoning bylaw. Specifically, the utilities are there. They already service the sites and the individual pads, and any new utility service to the new pads will be added. But utility service is already present on the site. The access into this site is, again, directly from Route 1. There is no need for residents of the mobile home park to traverse any other streets other than Route 1 to get in and out of this property. The variances that we're seeking, again, you can see on the site, this is a very irregularly shaped lot. We also have, as you could see on one of the plans submitted, has the topo lines. In the area that I've just pointed out, we have significant topography here that prohibits the placement of mobile homes in that whole, what I'll call the southwesterly section of the site. That's why the existing mobile homes are placed the way they are now, which is along the perimeter of the site with the driveway going in. And that will be maintained, and we'll simply be adding the mobile homes along the perimeter around the site as they are now. We have an irregularly shaped lot, we have the topography, and we have the location of the existing structures on the site. Those are the existing homes, all of which create a unique hardship for this lot, not found generally affecting lots within the highway corridor zoning district. Importantly, the request in this proposal meets the intent and the purpose of the zoning bylaw by providing and encouraging the appropriate use and balance of uses within the town. This has been a mobile home site and a mobile home park for many years, and it's a continuance of that use. And the bylaw specifically states that the purpose of the bylaw is to encourage housing for persons of all income levels. And this mobile home park provides that. It meets the needs for a particular demographic of folks who are not met when you have, I looked it up today, average Danvers sale prices in 2023 is $605,000. The average, again, the maximum sale price for an affordable housing unit at 80% AMI is about $260,000. These units you can get into $150,000, $160,000 and up, and then you pay a modest monthly pad fee. There are other mobile home parks in this corridor, as you're aware, and they are, each one of them, there's 3 others that I have done the research on in this particular corridor. 98 Newbury Street. All of these are more densely packed, and I do have graphics that I provided to the planning director this afternoon. 98 Newbury Street has 75 homes. 200 North Street has 80 homes. 460 Newbury Street has 35 homes, and again, we are proposing 29. This just, oh, take this with me. Just as a comparison, this is the site we're talking about. This is the assessor's map. Interestingly, this assessor's map actually shows 18 mobile homes. As I said initially, the number of mobile homes on the site has fluctuated over the years. Currently, we have 14. You'll see 18 here. Just in comparison with the site at 98 Newbury Street, just right across the street, you can see the difference in the density, and the density that you see at 98 Newbury Street is similar to the density that you see at 200 North Street, as well as 460 Newbury Street. Brian, if you want to just pull those up quickly, just so that you can see how mobile home parks are laid out. And again, primarily because it keeps the pad rental low while generating the needed income to operate the park and to provide the maintenance. This is 200 North Street. There are 80 units there. And 460 Newbury, which is just up the road from 200 North. Again, a very similar layout as far as proximity, the mobile homes to each other. But as you see, when you're trying to keep the costs low for the pad rentals, you find that you provide the density so that you're able to keep those costs low. And that's 460 Newbury. So they're all very similar. And if we go back one more time to the proposed for 103 Newbury, our density is less at 13 units per acre, actually, where these others are significantly more than that. This is the proposal. The darker units are the new units. The lighter are the existing units. And again, we have one that's being removed. The owner of the property, Jim St. Pierre, has a brief statement that he would just like to make to you, and then that will conclude our presentation, and we'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
How you guys doing?
Good evening.
Hey,
Just for the record, you are?
James St. Pierre, co-owner of Shady Oak with my wife Leah Fagundes. We're currently losing money at Shady Oak. You know, we've had to invest our own savings and time. I manage the property myself. I plow the property myself. When we first bought this place, the lot fees were $300 a month, and we had to raise it a little bit. And we just don't want to beat the residents up too much. And by adding these homes, it's an ethical way to keep the rent from going up. I'm confident with the added homes, we'll be able to maintain a reasonable lot fee and help the people of Danvers find affordable options to live in. We really can't afford to make any capital improvements like paving the roads. Once these new units are installed, we'll be able to afford to replace the roads, make Shady Oaks a respectable place to live. We will transform Shady Oak to be as beautiful as any place found in Danvers. With these added units, we have a great opportunity for everyone to win in this situation. Something to note, as owners, we really do. We live in the town of Danvers, and we care about the town of Danvers, and we really want to see Shady Oaks restored to its previous condition.
Thank you.
That's all I got. Thanks, guys.
And that's it. I'd be
Brian,
happy to
can't-
answer any questions.
Before I turn it over, Brian, could you go back to those renderings? Were those renderings submitted as part of
Yes.
our package?
They were?
We didn't get them. So, did you guys get any
I
renderings?
think, when we went to the site visit at NEHD.
Yeah, they were
Is that
paper.
what you gave us on
Yeah.
Saturday? Oh,
Those were for this one.
guess
You
I
were
didn't
too
do my homework
cold.
very well.
You were too cold by the
I
end
was
of
too
it.
It was
I
very
thought that
cold.
was- I thought it was this you gave us.
All we got was this in the letter.
Yeah, we didn't get any renderings. You guys got renderings?
Yeah.
Selective. I
Not by
see.
me.
No?
Okay, no, I was just trying to understand, what, can you bring up just one of those renderings, so?
Yeah, which,
Either one, I just trying to understand the look.
yep, give me a second, there's a little delay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Saturday we just got this.
Got this, 2 sheets and a letter.
Okay. All right, so that is a view from Route 1?
Correct, from
Okay.
Newbury Street, right.
Okay.
And that shows you the improved pavement, some new landscaping out front, an updated sign, and it does show you the new, some of the new mobile homes that you see on the plan.
Okay. Okay, thanks. Anything else before I
That's
turn
it.
it over? Okay,
Thank you.
Katie, we'll start down there with you.
I assume that the residents were notified of this plan and nobody, well, we haven't gone out to the public yet, but nobody is opposed necessarily or is in favor of it. I mean, I think that would be my concern. So, I mean, I guess, so a question would be, have any residents voiced any concerns, and what have the owners done to address the concerns?
I think the plan that you see before you tonight is addressing the concerns and really updating the facility. You see the existing rendering, which is actually the photograph. The driveway is in tough shape. It needs to be addressed. I will tell you, my office looks out on this mobile home park, and I'm very familiar with it. And it needs some attention, and that will better all of the residents there, as well as it will improve my view as well, looking out.
Win-win.
Yeah.
That's all I have for now.
Thanks, Katie. Green.
I do have a few questions. From comparing what, the pads that will be installed compared to the ones that are being removed, it's the original number 2 is the one that's being eliminated, correct?
Correct.
And if you kind of do an overlay of the old plans to the new plans, it seems as if a lot of the stubs, or whether it's for sewer or for water, will either have to be moved or upgraded. Is that correct?
Will, do you know the answer to that? Yeah. Let me have Will respond to that.
Will Scooter from the Moore and Cameron Group, engineer. So the water stubs and the sewer stubs were kind of left there from the old trailers, so they'll just be extended as needed and hooked up and hopefully reused. So they're not necessarily abandoned at this time, they're just kind of dormant, and the hope is to just reuse them.
Okay, all right. So when you do this upgrade and you pour for the new pads, there's going to be an upgrade of all the systems that go along with it, I'm assuming, correct?
Yeah, they'll reuse the existing services, but they'll extend them as needed. So it will be dependent on what kind of trailers or homes come in and the pad situation.
Okay, okay. And I also noted on the deed that there's some rite of passage for the cemetery. So, Attorney McKeon, maybe you can speak to that. I'm assuming that people who want to go to that cemetery, if there are even any people that do, they would have to enter through Route 1, drive through the park and onto the property? They already have to do that. And there are people that do come to do that?
Don't speak unless you're going to come
Yeah.
up.
Okay.
If you want to come up and speak to it, you can. I will tell you, this is a very old cemetery, and I have never seen it, again, I look out on it. I've never seen anyone going in there, but
Just identify yourself.
Hi, my name is Leah. I'm also part owner of the trailer park already.
Leah, your last name?
Flagundis.
Thank you.
And yeah, nobody has ever come, the city doesn't even come to clean the cemetery that has been basically abandoned, the poor thing. So I don't think we'll have a problem with that. And I'm sure if anybody does want to visit the Hutchinsons, I'm sure that they can just come and please give respects to their family.
But is there like a passageway for these people if they wanted to? Because it is part of the deed.
Yes, there is. There's a little walkway right back here. No. Or where is it? Where's the
It'd be up
cemetery?
here.
Yeah, and there's like a little walkway that's like not on anybody's, it's on our property, but it's like right.
Lee, if you could speak into the mic.
There's a little walkway that's like right there that leads into the back of the cemetery, like to the side of the cemetery if you're looking at it.
Okay,
So, yeah.
okay. And that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Thanks, Corinne. Ken?
So the existing mobile homes, how close is the closest one to the other one? You mentioned, so you said they're gonna be, the ones now are gonna be no closer than the existings are closer to each other now.
No, what I said is that the new homes will be no closer to the side or the rear lot line than the existing homes. And you can see that's given to you on the plan,
Yep.
what those dimensions are. And they'll be, the proposed homes, are they around 8 to 10 feet apart? The closest in between them is about 5 feet. But again, when you saw some of the other mobile homes, they're even, mobile home parks, they're even closer. But if you look at sheet 2 of the plan set, and I'm pulling mine out because I can't read that little chart up there. Side setback, the closest is a foot, and we are not proposing a new home that close. And the rear, the closest is 6 feet, and again, the rear setback that we are proposing is 14 feet, so we're not going any closer than what the existing happens to be.
So existing right now, there are mobile homes. I drove through there, it looks pretty dense as it is now. But I'm just wondering, so you mentioned there's already 5 feet between some of them, some of the mobile homes?
Yep.
Okay. So what about, does each mobile home gonna have a parking slab?
Yeah, Will can point that out to you.
So would that be in front of it or beside the units?
The answer is yes on that. Depends on how,
Yeah, so the majority of all these proposed homes will have the parking spot kind of right next to it. They're all typical. I think they're 12 feet wide, 18 feet, 20 feet deep, kind of maxed out. There's one spot, as you can see, kind of on the right side of the screen here, that will have to serve one of the units kind of across the driveway, but every other home will have their own driveway kind of attached right next to the actual dwelling.
And it would be able to fit 2 vehicles?
We size them basically on a one car.
Okay. Also, I was just wondering, there's a chicken coop on here? Is that existing now?
I don't know why they called it a chicken coop. It's actually just like a little wooden, it's like a wooden box, probably like 5 by 5. It's for compost. It's not a chicken coop.
Oh, okay.
There's just like a chicken coop looking thing next to it, and I think that's why they called it a chicken coop.
Yeah,
but it's not.
I was just wondering if there's like
Yeah.
community
We were like, chicken
eggs.
coop where?
Thank you.
Anything else, Ken?
No, I'm
No.
done.
Ken, Schultz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So let's say I wanted to rent one of these pads for my 1980 dilapidated mobile home. Can I do that? Or they're already going to be up there, you go look at them like you would look at a piece of real estate and say, yeah, I like this one, I'm going to buy this one. They're all brand new?
Hi, James St. Pierre again. Yes, every new home that will be going in will be brand new.
Brandy new?
Yep, absolutely.
No old ones?
No,
Okay.
no.
No further questions, thank you.
Thank you, Ken. All right, Jeff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Attorney McCann, could you speak to whether these units will count as affordable in our tally of 10% affordable units?
I can speak to that, and unfortunately, the state legislature has not seen fit to include mobile homes in qualified affordable housing count. So even though these are most certainly affordable homes, and more so than some homes that do count on the SHI, mobile homes do not yet qualify for inclusion on the SHI, and it's unfortunate, and that's kind of been something that affordable housing groups have been trying to get changed in the legislation, but they have not done that. Once that does get changed, Danvers will, and I do believe it will happen at some point, but it's been years and it hasn't changed yet. Danvers will see certainly a significant improvement in the SHI.
And will these, since they don't count for us, do they count against us? Do they count as
Out of our count?
out of the
You're
count?
talking about year-round housing units, and I believe they would.
Yeah. I think that's probably true.
So we're going to take a 16-unit hit on
Yeah.
our 10% affordable.
On the SHI, but I would suggest from a true providing affordable housing, which is really the intent, Danvers is improving the situation for its residents.
Typically, if we were to add 16 units, we would ask the applicant for a contribution to the Affordable Housing Trust. I understand their financial situation and losing money right now, but I just wanted to.
Or you would ask us for an affordable housing unit, and in this case, we're
Can't
giving you, exactly, we can't provide one that meets the SHI, but in actuality, we're providing 29.
I am not aware in our zoning bylaw of a parking requirement for a mobile home. Is that the case?
I think that's true. What we're showing here is the same.
One parking space
One
per
parking
unit.
space per unit. If you look at the other mobile home parks that I've mentioned, they're all similarly situated. So, and it's typical that the parking space is right up against the unit for the most part.
Yeah. And this may be a question for Mr. St. James, but of the 14 units that are there, they will remain in their condition that they're in. The ones that are owned by private individuals.
Yes, but we are working with them to try to get them restored as well. So we're gonna try to help people restore their old trailers and get the entire park beautified.
Are there any units right now that you own?
Yes, 3.
And that's because previous owners left or
Yep,
died
either
or
evicted or died or whatever the case may have been.
you bought those units?
Yes, yep. We recently just purchased one from a resident that passed away. And that's the plan, to just try to really restore this place and make it a
And
respectable
so
place to
the
live.
units you rent the units you own, you will rent the unit itself?
Probably we'll sell them to be done the way that the typical trailer park situation is.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Jeff. Ken, you have an additional
I
question?
do, thank you.
Yeah.
Attorney McCann, this is considered a co-op, correct?
No,
Where they don't own the land,
right,
they rent the pad,
yes.
that's a co-op. So why would we take a hit on affordable housing for a co-op?
Not really.
It's not a co-op.
I think it is. They don't own the land. That's
I
what
actually-
a co-op is called.
I live at 200 North Street. I'm actually the president of that homeowners association. We're a true co-op at 200 North Street.
Okay.
What happens in Danvers, the residents have a statutory right of first refusal. So we got a letter in the mail that the owners were selling it, and the residents actually have an opportunity to step up, find financing, and buy the park together as a group, and that's what makes them a cooperative community. Whereas at Shady Oak Mobile Home Park, me and my wife own it independently,
Right,
so that would be the difference.
okay.
You all set?
Yeah, I think so, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay.
Attorney McCann, so how long has this applicant owned Shady Oak?
How long long have you owned? 2 years?
And I heard there was the pad rental increase, but has there been any other efforts prior to this to do any upgrades there?
I think he's been working on putting this plan together, certainly for almost a year.
So how will financing work for this, I guess, proposal? Is he bank financing? I mean, how is this getting done?
Sure, there will be financing to do the improvements based on the number of units that are approved to be here. And that will be a package that will be financed just like any other project.
Okay, and so the engineer talked about the pads, so all new pads will be poured for these new units? And
Yes,
I think if I heard you right, we're gonna stay with the existing utility hookups and then bring them in proximity, I'm
Well,
paraphrasing here, to
Right,
the new pads.
if new utilities need to be brought in to the new pads, that will happen. As pads are relocated, the utilities are moved and extended.
Well, I guess what I'm
The
getting
utility
at.
service is already into the park.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I guess what I'm getting at is our assessors have you at 18. Your map shows various numbers. It seems to me like there could be a lot of old utilities throughout the site. So I guess I'm just,
That all gets cleaned up.
okay, so I guess that's an as-required.
Right, exactly.
Pad by pad. And so I see, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the rear setback, the closest I see is 4 feet
Existing,
existing.
yes.
And all these new ones, I believe I'm seeing at 5 feet rear. Does that sound right?
Could we, no, I think that's not what I saw.
Well, I'm sorry,
What you call the
it's
rear and the
close,
side.
it's
Yeah.
closest.
What I called the rear, it may be not what you call the
I'm
rear.
calling the rear, the back, yeah, that's that side there.
Okay, I call that the side.
That's a side setback?
This is the rear. Newbury Street is here.
Okay.
So that would.
All right, so that side setback, it sounds like we're not taking anything closer than 5 feet?
For the new ones? That's
Yes.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
And,
I think that's even like 8.
does this, guess I'm trying to understand, does this trigger a site review, and if it does, under what criteria? Is it more than 10% increase, or is this not going to site review?
I'm going to ask the planning director whether he thinks this needs to go to site plan review.
This is the way I look at it is, well, the cheat sheet I have, if we increase impervious on the site by 10% or more, that triggers site review. Total site coverage by 10% or more.
We'll certainly be doing that.
So it sounds to me
There-
like this
Yeah,
would go to
there's
site.
no doubt in my mind that this is certainly more than 10%.
Okay, so
I
this is gonna go to site, okay. And,
And at that point, we'll get into the specifics on landscaping and all
sure,
that
sure,
sort of thing.
sure. And what thought, I understand the density on these sites, as I sat on the case across the street, and if you can refresh me, which you usually can.
I can try.
98 Newberry Street,
Yep.
it's currently at 75. What was that increase that we allowed? I want to say it was
It was 3.
15 units?
It was actually 3 new units in 2020, but there had been other increases over the years. The most recent was in 2020, and there
What
were
was that
3
number?
new units added
2.
in the front.
Okay. All right, and, okay, I think that answers my, I think, you had brought a case before us, on Pope's Landing, Pope's Lane, rather, that ended up getting withdrawn, and I think something's getting done there by right now. And the concern at that time was the forest and the buffer between. What's, I guess, you know both sides, so what's going on between that? Is there a big hogging out going on in the back of this site?
No, there wasn't. And actually, those two property owners, Leah and James LLC, and the property owner of that site that you're talking about off of Pope's Lane, actually worked together because several of these mobile homes existing were over the lot line. So the property owner on Pope's Lane actually conveyed land at no cost, I believe, or very limited cost to the mobile home park so that all of the mobile homes are on this site.
Okay, so some of these setbacks are actually new setbacks because new land was
They were made
conveyed?
better because some of the mobile homes were over the line. So to answer your question, if you, and you wouldn't recall because we had to go just through site plan on the Pope's Lane, this was 13 Pope's Lane.
Correct.
There was no landscaping removal in the back area that abuts this, and it's primarily due to the topography back there.
Yeah, I remember it was ledge and
Right.
whatever, yeah, okay.
Ledge, and there's a fair amount of pretty mature trees on that particular site. This site doesn't have
Okay,
very
so
many
that hasn't
mature
been disturbed?
trees.
And there's no
Correct.
plan to disturb?
That's right.
Okay. And, well, I guess, let me go back to the cemetery for a second. So, the town, and by the way, I just want to clarify, we're not a city, so, at least not yet. The town of Danvers owns that land and maintains that land? I guess, help me understand that, and there's no parking spots required for that?
It's an old
Well, there's a lot of old
cemetery.
cemeteries in town.
Exactly right, and they don't have parking, and this doesn't have any parking. You don't have vehicle access, doesn't go into the cemetery in particular. Nobody has, it's an ancient cemetery.
So is there a fence that separates Shady Oak from the cemetery, or can you just
Is there a
walk
fence
in?
there or no? It's a rock. I know that there is along
rock
property
wall.
that where I find myself a lot of the in my office. There is a stone wall, and there's kind of a stone wall that goes
So
around.
no maintenance at all was done to this cemetery?
I think that's true.
All right, well, I'm sorry?
We would be willing to maintain the cemetery.
So you guys would take a condition to maintain that?
Sure, to mow it and keep it neat. Sure.
Okay, and so the last question I have, and I'll bounce it out to the public and see if there's any additional members, but I understand the density and wanting to maximize the ability to generate funds, but any thought to, or what discussions were had around not adding 16 units, some number less than that?
Well, historically, as I said, there have been 30-plus units on this site already. And the density of this site is less than the density of the other three mobile home parks that I mentioned to you. So, you know, was there a thought of putting 15 new units in instead of 16? What is the point of
Well, I guess it
of
goes
that?
to what I was asking about earlier with, you know, maybe some flower area or, you know, something, so it's not just mobile home, parking spot, you know, some little gazebo area or something
Yeah.
that somebody could enjoy some outdoor space. Granted, it's on
Yes.
Route 1, and
It's on
looking
Route
at your
1.
office, I understand maybe you have great decorations to look at during the holidays, I don't know.
We also have, there is a lot of open space on this site because of the topography. That whole southwestern area is open, and we are proposing some additional landscaping. But before Leah talks, I just want to mention there's a balancing going on here to keep the pad monthly rent low. And so you do have to balance, you do have to balance that. And what have we got? Where is that?
It's 200.
Sorry, here. Yeah.
Shady,
Yeah, and you know, I'm having trouble finding it because you don't even see them. This is 98,
Yep.
98, right.
and this, as you can see,
It's shady.
shady.
It's shady.
Did you want to speak to the landscaping?
I use that perfectly
Okay.
the topography area.
Okay, I think you've answered all my questions. I'll go back to the board just one last time. Anybody have additional questions? I'll go out to the public. Anybody that would like to would like to speak on this, it's 103 Newbury Street. Yeah, Mr. Bradstreet.
Again, Bill Bradstreet, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1. First observation, looking at the drawings, is it's very dense or too dense. I know it's grandfathered, and my recollection is new parks are going to be or have been allowed in Danvers. So this being grandfathered, they can only go so far. I know in the past, I think you mentioned that there was a problem with the noise from Pope's Lane and what the new buildings down there, how it would or wouldn't affect the folks in the park. With all of these new units, are they also going to be affected, so there'll be more than just the 16 people complaining about the noise? Will there be 29 trailer park owners complaining about the noise? My question about to you, I guess, is the cemetery privately owned?
I think
And if it is, are they creating a problem for themselves by saying they would maintain someone else's property? Or is that covered by some kind of
No, that's a good
agreement?
question. I think if I heard them right, though, I think it's owned by the town of Danvers. But
I need an answer for that, too.
I guess I'll go to our planning director. Is that somehow, can we figure that
That's
out
ownership.
through?
I can figure it out in just a
They
minute.
say ownership unknown on the plan.
It does, it clearly says unknown, but that's their plans, it's not town plans, right? So-
Right.
So I guess we could try to find that out.
Well, I personally would be concerned with these folks.
I have the same one, yeah.
That's a concern, again.
Because I honestly, I mean, I like the gesture.
And so do I.
But I
So
don't
do
know
I.
if we can just arbitrarily say,
I would advise against it,
yeah, only because it's town property, so,
even if it's not town property.
yeah. Good point.
Just
Anything
to-
else?
No, you've already asked some of the questions that I had to ask,
Well,
so.
we think alike sometimes.
And the
sometimes.
town appreciates your concern for these issues.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else would like to speak from the public, 103? All right, I will come back to the board, and I think I started with you, Katie. We'll deliberate, unless Attorney McCann, you would like to add anything to close this up?
No,
I-
that's
I-
it.
Yep, go ahead,
Chair,
Brian.
just quick, I'm having trouble locating which parcel that we're talking about that is owned, or that is the cemetery. Could you point to it?
40
on-
lot 11A.
Map, yeah, 11A,
So,
highway corridor.
Um,
Does say,
not-
on this plan, ownership unknown, and it's, it looks like it says R89, but I have a feeling it's 89R, Newbury Street?
it's actually, so it's actually not,
Yeah, we don't know exactly.
there is no parcel, according to the town of Danvers.
So,
Because nobody's paying
so
taxes on it.
Shady Oak could claim it as theirs, I guess.
Eminent domain.
We
Maybe
can work
put
with you on
a
that,
term-
or we can work with Attorney McCann, but
Attorney
I would.
McCann,
Yeah, hold on one
Yes.
second.
if they
Hold on,
maintained
Jeff,
it,
hold on, Jeff. So right now, there's no owner of record.
There's no carved out parcel that exists for that cemetery on the Town of Danvers GIS, which
Okay.
that's about as official as you can get.
So I find that really concerning, right?
It is
We have a
concerning.
parcel in town, there's actually no known owner of, so
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist on paper, so it makes
Well,
me feel like it's part of Shady Oak.
No, it does exist. On the assessor's map, it's right here.
All right, so
But I do run into this situation sometimes
wait a
where
minute.
I find assessors, I find lots
yep.
on the assessor's maps, and then you click on it, and there's no data card.
Okay.
I
And
do
that's
too,
probably what
Nancy.
we're talking about.
So this is, if this is in red, you can see that,
Yeah,
that little
that's
parcel,
it.
if that's it, that's known as 89, or 89 Newberry Street, and the owner is Rear 89, and the owner is, it says the Hutchinson Job and Eli, and then the co-owner says cemetery.
The
Yeah,
occupants.
it's an old Hutchinson family cemetery.
I will look into
Hutchinson
this.
stones in
How about that?
That sounds like a good one to have Brian go on chasing his tail on. But anyways, all right, we're not here on the cemetery,
Right.
but I think it's just a point of interest for the board to understand. I do appreciate the gesture of the applicant willing to kind of maintain it, and I don't think we'll ask to condition it or take a condition, but if they wanted to do that out of their maintenance for their own purposes, I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's gonna obviously be something that's seen by anybody going in there, so. All right, and Jeff, you had additional
Yeah,
questions?
if I
before?
could ask
Yeah, go
Brian
ahead.
something? If they maintained that property for 20 years, could they repossess it by adverse possession?
They could, they would have to file at the registry today saying that we are openly and
Taken care of.
take, maintaining this property. So yes, that's totally
I
possible.
think it's
But
like it's 20 years or something, right?
I want to say, yeah,
13.
it's somewhere
7.
between 15 and 20.
20,
Okay, yeah.
15 and 20.
20.
20, it is 20, okay.
I have one more
Good,
question.
good, Jeff. Ken, another question? Go ahead.
So I notice on this parcel, it says rear 89 Newbury. Well, 89 Newbury is Richardson Green.
It's my office.
Right. You didn't have ownership of that at one point?
Absolutely not.
No.
How do you know? Did you chase the title
I've
back?
actually done the title on 89 Newbury
Title
Street.
insurance is
So
your
I
friend.
do know
But did
that.
they chase it back to 1800 and something?
Well, it looks like it's Job and
Probably
Eli
not.
Hutchinson.
Gee, maybe Attorney
I mean,
McCann
how did
knows.
they come up with map 40, lot 11A? And your map 40, lot 11?
No idea.
They're rear 89. Where'd they come up with all that?
The assessor from long ago.
I think you need to hire Ken to go.
Yeah, I think you should have me search it. But that's
Maybe,
okay.
well, maybe you can search it for the planning department.
Okay, well, we're gonna move this
Anyway,
along. We're gonna go into
get off the
deliberations.
cemetery.
We're all set on questions, so I will go down to you, Katie. Deliberations.
I do think the proposed plan does look quite dense, especially compared to the existing conditions, but I do think that it is addressing and filling a need for affordable housing, so I would be a yes.
Thank you, Katie. Corinne?
I have a hard time with this one. I definitely sympathize with the new owners. I think they definitely want to improve. I just think it's too dense, and now that I hear that we take a hit, even though it is affordable housing, we don't get the credit for it, I'm not happy with that. So, I would only be a yes if we decreased from the amount that you want to increase. But the way it stands now, I would be a no.
Thank you, Corinne. Ken?
I would approve this. It fills a dire need for affordable housing. Driving through there, you have, the pavement is all cracked and, it looks disheveled, the whole area, so I think a nice improvement would be good. And then also, the density of the other mobile home parks seem closer than this one would be, and pretty much the existing units are gonna be, about the same as the new ones anyways, as far as being close together, so I would be a yes.
And defined.
Okay, thank you, Ken. Ken?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's obvious Shady Oaks needs some help, and I get it. It's in rough shape. I actually don't have a problem with how many units there are, so I would vote for this.
Thank you, Ken. Jeff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, in walking the site in the past week, it's obvious that you guys need an infusion of cash. And it's also obvious that the abutting properties, because of the topography and the cliffs and the banks and everything, are not really going to be impacted by this tight spacing. And the most encouraging thing I heard tonight was that Mr. St. Pierre's actually lives in a mobile home park. So, in Danvers. So I'm a vote for yes on this.
Thank you, Jeff. Attorney McCann, I tend to agree with Corinne. I think it's too dense. That's not to say I'm not acceptable as something close to what it is, but I think it's just too packed for me. And knowing we'll take, and it might be percentages, but we're gonna take a hit because we're adding housing and we're not adding affordable housing. So I am a no currently, but I am open to some other proposal.
You're only taking a hit because of what the state legislature has done or not done. And when the state
Understood. I
legislature
understand that,
catches
too.
up and realizes that mobile homes are in fact truly affordable,
And I
then you
agree
will
with that
get-
statement,
you
but that's
will
a
get,
state problem. That's not
29
anything the town of Danvers
units.
can solve.
the density of, just to give you an idea, the density that we are proposing is 13 units an acre. The density of 460 Newbury Street is 16 units an acre. The density of 200 North Street is 14 units an acre. So we are less dense than those other three. Those other two, I should say. 98 Newbury Street, given the area where the mobile homes are on that site, it's closer to 19 units an acre. That has a big tail that's not particularly usable, but where those mobile homes are located, it's at about 19.5 units an acre, and we are less than that. And that is a site that this board allowed to increase just recently, 2 years ago, to add 3 more units at that site. To decrease just to decrease will not make any difference as you are looking at this site from Newbury Street, as you're looking at this site from anywhere else, any of the abutting properties. You won't be able to discern a difference, but it does make a difference to what the owners can do to maintain and upgrade the facility. So to decrease just to decrease, I don't know. They've done the numbers. They know what they need to make this work. And they've owned it for 2 years now. They know how mobile home parks work. They've taken almost a year to come up with this layout and done the surveying for the existing conditions. And we think this is a reasonable proposal, and we would hope that you would think so too. Just reducing to reduce it when no one will see the difference doesn't seem to have value here.
Well, I think if I heard Corinne correctly, she thinks it's too dense and is a no vote, and I am the same. So you don't currently have the votes. What would you like to do?
Do you want to, can I talk to my clients and see
Sure,
what they want to
thank
do?
you.
Do you have a number, Mr. Chairman, as to what you think is
I
not too
mean,
dense?
Again, I think just to space it a little better. If there's 1 or 2 units that maybe, if 1 unit achieves that, then great. But I can't speak for Corinne either way. Corinne, any thoughts on your end?
I think part of the issue too is there is a lot of space in this park that's unusable. So when you're talking about how many units per acre or whatever your measurement
Yeah, there's
was,
a lot of it not
it just
used.
means that they're stuffed closer together. So, and again, I just think there are too many, it's expanding too much for the site.
But again, that is the exact reasoning why we need the variance and the hardship, is because we have areas of this site that are not usable. That's the hardship argument for.
Well,
for the
again, but
variance.
I think my argument to that is we're allowing for a lot of setback issues and things of that nature. And we're kind of looking the other way on those things for that very reason.
Take a recess for 5 minutes?
Yeah, you need it?
No, I
can.
just,
Yeah.
give that.
Again, I can give you you want to recess for 5 minutes, we can. Okay, we'll take a brief recess. Appeals is back in session. Attorney McCann, before you go forward, a couple of things I thought of. I know we deliberated, but my two pet peeves that I never even brought up were trash storage and snow storage. And maybe this is an opportunity, if there's a little more space, to address either of those items.
And that would be
How
done.
does trash get handled on
Yeah,
this site?
that would be done typically through site plan approval. Do you have, tell us how you deal with trash now?
Hi, James St. Pierre again. We hired G Mello to come and remove the trash once a week. So the people just put the trash out front of their homes, and the trash company comes and picks it up. As far as snow removal, I do that myself.
Okay.
And I usually I'll push the snow in here, and I'll pile it up where there's no homes up here. I pile a little bit right here, and some down in the front where there's no
So you have private trash pickup now, and you have
Yes.
storage sites for snow?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, what did we come up with?
All right. Could you put up the proposed with the numbers? Having heard your concern, the applicants are proposing to eliminate 2 units.
Okay.
And
Which
that
two?
would be specifically Unit 12 and Unit 27, which I can point out. Oh, boy. I can't read these numbers, but I think it's this one and this one. You can see it better on your plan.
Yes.
12 and 27, which in looking at this, that will give you, 20, perfect. 27 is this. Stop that.
All right, I'm done. I'm done.
Step away from the mouse.
27 is here, and 12 is here. So those are 2 of the units that are kind of wedged in the most. So that would then give us a net
14
of
new, 14 existing.
14 new, 14 existing, 1 removed. So that will bring us to 27 instead of 29.
Okay. I won't go back to the new, with the new proposal to members that already voted in favor. I'll just go with Corinne and myself. So, Corinne, thoughts on that?
Again, I feel the predicament of the new owners, and I think by reducing it, they have done that in good faith, and I will vote for this.
Thank you, Corinne. I too, I do feel like the applicant's going to take a site that's, I wouldn't say unsightly, but it needs some, no, I'll be honest, I mean, there's plenty of other properties in town that I could say that about, but I think there's an effort here already. I asked about ownership and why, not why, but how long. There's a lot of things that can be done that don't require money to kind of help out sites, and I think you're moving in that direction. And I do feel like the reduction will allow you maybe a little more working space too. So I appreciate the applicant taking those comments to heart, and I too would vote a yes. I would vote in favor as amended. And I won't ask to add the condition for the cemetery, but if that could be in your thoughts, that would be probably a good thing for the town, and I believe Mrs. Kelly's gonna maybe even find out who owns it. And maybe, I know the dead people aren't gonna pay us any taxes, but we could at least clear up some paperwork.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that said, could I get a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, I move to grant a finding in accordance with Section 3.10.B.2 of the Danvers Zoning Bylaw to allow the expansion of the existing non-conforming mobile home park by increasing the number of mobile homes from 14 to 27,
As amended.
as amended in the plan, as the extension, expansion, or alteration is not substantially more detrimental than what currently exists.
I'll second that.
I've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And this is a two-part finding?
I further move to grant a variance
Oh, it's a one-part,
from
okay,
Table
sorry.
3 of the Danvers zoning bylaw to allow new mobile homes to be closer to the side and rear lot lines than permitted as of the right, permitted as of right in the highway corridor zone as shown on the plans provided by the applicant. The hardship is the irregular shape and topography of the lot that renders the southwesterly section of the lot unusable. This condition does not affect other properties or structures in the same zoning district. A literal enforcement of the zoning bylaw would involve substantial hardship to the applicant, and granting this variance will not create a substantial detriment to the public good and will not nullify or derogate from the intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw.
I'll second.
I've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You
Thank
got
you
it.
very
You
much.
passed, and good luck.
Thanks for doing that. Thanks for lowering that amount.
All right, Brian, anything else?
All set on my end.
Okay, a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.